Today, we're going to discuss the U.S. Treasury bonds. I thought yesterday was an historic day. I saw even someone say this is the day we'll tell our grandchildren about, and then last night happened, which is even wilder. So you can see on the right-hand side here that the 10-year bond just shot up. So yesterday's video, we started the day at 4%. We closed at 420, even though the market was insane, which didn't make any, that's why it was an historic day. And then late last night, 11 o'clock Eastern time, we were up at 5% on the 10-year bond, 5%. So I saw last night when I was looking at this that we hit 387 on the 10-year on Friday, and now we're at basically 447, so it's, 47 at 60 points, 60 basis points. That's unbelievable. Also the 5-year, look at that, right up there again. Look at the 30-year, okay? Now, when you look at the 30-year, it seems like it made even a bigger move, and last night around 11 o'clock, it crossed over 5%. 5%, just unbelievable. Now here's the SOFR rate. So this is the secure overnight financing rate. Just replaced LIBOR a few years ago. It could be manipulated by the banks. And so this is set every morning at 8 o'clock. And so this is overnight. This is showing you that there is stress in the system. And remember in our videos on Saturday and Sunday, we said that when the short end starts to go on the bonds, that's when we really have some issues. So this is the beginning. Right now, let's say though, we haven't seen the move in the short-term treasuries like we've seen here, okay? There's a couple narratives that are going around what's going on. The first one being is that the cash basis trade is breaking down. Now, we just did a video on this. I'll post it under the TikTok, okay? Pin it under the TikTok, along with several others that are addressing these issues. And I would say I'm not too sure about the cash basis trade at this time. I'm not saying it's not happening. There certainly is leverage being taken out of the system. I just don't know if it's the cash basis trade that's driving what is happening. The reason being is the cash basis trade is hedge funds buy a treasury bill. So let's say it has 60 days, okay, before it matures. The treasury bill is issued as an OID, original issue discount. So we'll just make up these numbers. So we'll say if it's going to come due in 60 days at 100, they'll issue it at 99 or 98 and a half, and then it comes due at 160 days, okay? So there's no interest paid, it's just the price of the bond goes up. Now the hedge funds then go and say, we're going to short the treasury interest rate from 60 days, and since it's in the future, they make a few bips. Now, what they do, as you know from our prior videos, is they leverage this up 100, 150 times, and they're making about 9%. And I'll post another video here where just 2 weeks ago or a week ago, financial experts came out and said that the Fed needs to develop a facility to bail the hedge funds out of the cash basis trade. And I'm going to mention here, they actually say there's only 9 or 10 hedge funds who are actually doing this. This is what we're doing this for. They have, and you can, again, we never know, let's say 1.1 to 2.5 trillion dollars in this trade. We don't really know, okay? And no one really knows. So that's one of the things that could be happening in the cash basis trade. The second thing that people are saying is that Chinese are selling our bonds. Now, I don't think it's the case, but yesterday out comes this news item. Now, we've all been through the Marin paper here several times. We posted it many times and discussed it. And one of the things in there is that they say that we tax U.S. treasuries or assets that are held by foreign governments, all right? And yesterday the guy mentions it again, which, as you can read this for yourself, I think people are pretty shocked over it. Now, whether the Chinese sell our treasuries or not, doing this in an afternoon, I just don't see it. These things are big ships. It's hard to change and so forth. So I'm not so sure it's the Chinese at this time. In fact, I don't think it's the Chinese at this time. So what are we left with? Well, yesterday I saw this, that these 4 banks got together to discuss the ongoing chaos in the plunging equity markets. These were Bank of America, Barclays, HSBC, and Citicorp. All right, so now I'm totally in supposition. This is just my opinion from my experience on the street. None of these guys are big players, okay? None of them. Especially Bank of America and Citicorp, when you think about a global bank. A global bank, when you're thinking about deposits, I agree, okay? When you're talking about investment banking, I'm not there. They're not Morgan Stanley, JP Morgan, and Goldman Sachs. So my first observation here is these 3 banks are not there, okay? There's no way that these banks meet to discuss the chaos in the market without the big 3 or one of the big 3 representing them, okay? Just not happening in my mind. So the way I read this is they have a client that is in trouble. Remember something, these big hedge funds, they don't just deal with one bank. Yes, they may have a main bank. They may lend from some, borrow from one and trade with another, but they trade with several things. I believe they're getting together to discuss what they perceive is a problem client. Probably one of those 9 or 10 hedge funds that are leveraged up, whatever, 50 to 100 to 200 times. Now, later on came out this other article saying that, hey, they're holding it over Trump tariffs again. Again, I'm just saying I disagree. I could be 100% wrong, but I just totally disagree. But it's interesting. They say in the article that Jamie Dimon joined the call for these guys. Now, this makes total sense to me. You got the 4 banks that have a problem client. Everybody's global. What do we say about GSIB? One goes down, they all go down, okay? So you have these 4 banks meeting over this. They're not really big players, okay? And so what do? We send in Jamie Dimon to observe the call, right? There's another article, I can't find it, from last night, and it basically said that Jamie Dimon was on the call to observe, all right? He was listening to what these guys had to say about their problem, how they're gonna try to resolve it, okay? Now, anybody who watched our video from, I think it was Saturday or Sunday, on longitude, what did we say? Where did we say is the global center of leverage for the world? London. By the way, where is Barclays and HSBC based? London. My opinion is that Bank of America and Citi are lenders to this client, okay? But they're trading with HSBC and Barclays, okay? That's my read. And they are in trouble. And this then makes sense on why the long bond is going down, okay, and fast. So you say, why does that make sense? Well, think about it. Everyone uses the 10-year bond for leverage, okay? And if you're in a liquidation mode, you're a hedge fund who is liquidating. So the first thing you're going to do is liquidate your trading positions. That's first. First you sell all your winners, then you sell all your losers. But as you sell, you start hitting the bid on your 10-year bond because you don't need it anymore for leverage. And so someone out there is deleveraging at a huge pace, and they are just selling their bonds. So last night, after the close, they sold like crazy, okay? And that's why we went up in the middle of the night. Remember, we trade 24 hours a day. So wherever they sold it, it doesn't matter. So here's our problem. SOFR and the selling of the bonds are telling us that someone is in trouble. And we are going to find out very, very soon. So what do you think of the 3 scenarios? Which one? Like and follow, and let me know.